Hi guys, this is Sam. This video is about two things, just about two things, but there's going to be a lot of stuff raised if I have the time. But it's mainly about two things: the N-word and respect. The N-word and respect. Okay, and they typically go together. They typically go together. Now, in a whole deleted channel where I used to make thousands and thousands of hours of videos for my so-called friends at YouTube, I didn't have any, and I didn't have any friends. I didn't have any viewers except my oldest brother, which we've already talked about. And well, let me sort of set the stage a little bit. I in those deleted segments on that deleted channel, I used to use the N-word a lot, but it didn't mean about African Americans, not at all. I'm part black because I'm half Sicilian from my mother's side, and you know that that's a melting pot. And we used to be slaves. I mean, in my ancestry, we were slaves, and there was a slave revolt against the Romans. It was successful, as far as I know. It was one of the first successful slave revolts in the history of the planet. Was the Sicilian slave revolt. So I just know that if I use the N-word, it doesn't mean African American or black person or anything like that. It means someone. It means I'm redefining it as I used it in the deleted channel on YouTube. It means, when I use it, it means someone who goes against the will of God. Okay, so I'm redefining. If I use the N-word, it means someone who goes against the will of God, in the very least. And it could be something as simple as someone who doesn't respect me. So that's why the two are tied together. Because I could also use it, and it's happened to me most of my life, not much of my life, most of my life. For one reason or another, people dissed or disrespected me. And so when someone disses me, it really means disrespect or disenfranchise or looked down upon, or in any way, shape, or form, somehow disrespect. So I use, for shorthand, I say, they dissed me. They dissed me. All right. So people are dissing me all the time in my life, all the time. Whether it's my ex about money, and they treated me as an ATM, but still couldn't respect the ATM. That's so freaking nutty. How do you expect an ATM to work if you're kicking it? It's not going to work. It's not going to make it produce money. Of course, metaphorically speaking, but still, it's the same thing. How do you expect an ATM to work when you're kicking it? It's not going to make it work. It's not going to make it work. So remember, if I ever use the N-word, it's because I'm trying to talk about people probably that they're disrespecting me, and at least in my view, they're going against the will of God. So that being said, I should be able to use the N-word so that you understand how I'm using it, and it's not an insult against African Americans or Black Americans or anything like that, because, like I said, I'm part Black, being Sicilian myself, and also have a history of slavery in my ancestry. So get ready for the torrential flood of all this stuff back at them. But all the people that freaking dissed me in my life, get ready for that, because it's coming. It may not be in this video, but it's coming. I woke up this morning pissed off, obviously. Really tired of bullshit. Really, really tired of bullshit. Oh, and what's the most recent bullshit? There's a woman, she could be pretending to be a gynecologist in Russia. She could be pretending, she could be real. Who knows if she's real? I demanded that she verify her identity with me, and that means making a short video letter for me where she says, in the video letter, a really brief, could be 5 seconds long, like I made for her. Could be 5 seconds long. In the brief video letter that she needs to make for me, she needs to verify her identity by saying something like, in the video, for me, hey Sam, this is Daria. That's it. It's really simple. I've met people recently that were incapable of doing that. You know why? Because they can't. Because they can't prove who they claim to be. Okay, a lot of people. And I wasted 2 years of my life, stupidly, in my past, on a catfish. And I told her the story in an audio letter, and she's been ignoring my audio letters. And I make sure that they're less than 2 meg so that they're attachable to emails. But so far, she says, this is her expression, why haven't you written to me? Oh, you stupid fucking C-word. You stupid fucking C-word. You're supposed to be a gynecologist, which means, an MD, right? An MD, like PhD level. So I wrote her back this morning, and I said, look, I have a PhD in physics. Stop dissing me. Stop disrespecting me. Stop ignoring my audio letters. Stop pretending like I'm not sending you audio letters. Send me a verification, like right now. Like yesterday. Oh, I could give you instance after instance after instance, especially with the NPIGs that I dealt with in my life. At least 4 different independent groups in the Philippines. At least 4 different police departments in the Philippines. The stupid, idiotic, head up their butts NPIGs. In 4 different departments, in 4 different locations. Here on the island, in Tagapulan. Back in Tacloban when I was squatting in a squatter area because my ex's family basically ostracized, they kicked me out and said, never come back. Well, why? Oh, I broke one of their one of their rules. We consider that a sin. It's a sin. Okay, get over it. If you don't know about the conception of forgiveness, you're not a Christian. You have no inkling what a true Christian is if you don't know what forgiveness is. And I begged for forgiveness for my sins, but they just ignore it because it's convenient for them to ignore it and diss me and treat me like a broken ATM. Everywhere I turn, Upwork, whether it's Upwork or YouTube, sometimes here in the village here, everywhere I turn, people diss me at every opportunity they can. Oh, I don't understand what you're saying. I'm asking, like there's a sorry downtown, what I call downtown. It's just a few seconds away, hop, skip, and jump from here. A few seconds walking from here. Sorry is a little convenience store that they have every other house. And I said, I'm asking them, could you please, if I give you the money, could you please, and there's even a girl who understands English, okay? There's even a girl who I asked to stay for her auntie to translate for me. So could you please boil some eggs for me for tomorrow when you have the time? No more fried fish. I'm not asking about fish. They think I was there for fish. That was my mistake. My first mistake was talking about bulad, which is a little dried fish. And they also sometimes sell it in fried form. I said, I'm not talking about fish. I'm talking about boiled eggs. Can you please ask your auntie to cook 3 eggs for me? And I'll pay right now. She can do it at her convenience. Can you please, because, the barangay hall is closed typically, and I can't boil the eggs when it's locked, and they pretend like they don't have a key, which they do. All right, so anyways, like I said, people will diss you and then pretend like, oh, I don't understand. And it's infuriating. It's infuriating. All right. Anyways, let's get back to the NPIGs in the 4 different departments that dissed me in Calbayog. The NPIGs there, they let me get beat up by 15 guys in detention to the point of death, to the point of brain damage. And I did get brain damage. You might be wondering, oh, well, how can you talk, normally with brain damage? Why? It's because I'm so freaking pissed off. That's why. That's how I can do it. So that's the worst one in the Philippines, is the Calbayog Police Department with the NPIGs there that dissed me by letting me get beat up in detention, and then finally dragging my unconscious body out of detention to a relative place of relative safety. It was still in detention, but in a more common area, and blood all over my shirt and stuff, and brain damage by that point, which they refused to verify, which they wanted me to wash the shirt so that there was no evidence, no obvious evidence. They wanted me to wash my own bloody shirt to hide the evidence. So if I had money, I would hire an attorney and sue sue every cent that they have, the whole city of Calbayog and the police department, for what they did to me. But I don't have money, and so I can't sue them. But if I did, I would, to put them in their place, so that you understand you don't mess with a man of God. You don't diss a man of God and think you can get away with it. Tacloban, when I was in the squatter area, people stole from me and thought they could get away with it. So I went to the police department, walked there twice. This is during Corona, of course. And people wouldn't even talk to me because I wasn't wearing a mask. Well, when on a barren street, I don't think I should have to wear a mask on a barren street. When there's nobody around me, and I'm sweating already like a pig, like one of them NPIGs. All right. Anyways, so of course I complained about people stealing money, and I mean as soon as I'd go poop, they'd rip me off. So after that I realized, well, I got to keep my wallet with me no matter where I go. Obviously, and so I blame myself for that stupid mistake. But anyways, I don't blame myself for them stealing my stuff. My supposed friend who stole my stuff, like a voltage regulator for a compressor for when I had scuba equipment. Anyways, I mean, I got story after story after story of how people dissed me, and how they I traded my scuba equipment for a longboat, for a motorboat, and I piloted it myself from Tacloban back to Calbayog, over 200 clicks, all by myself. Oh, and how did they diss me? Well, my father-in-law expected me to just hand over the longboat to him and just gift it to him. I mean, I don't know. I don't see the logic of that. It's my from my scuba equipment, the last gift of my pension, lump sum pension to myself, and they want me to hand it over my longboat to my father-in-law. And even people are trying to get me drunk and telling me this is what I should do. And I'm like, where the F are you coming from? What planet did you actually grow up on? Because on the Dis Sam planet, is that the planet that you grew up on? Because that's what it seems like. You have no conception of respect when you ask me to hand over my longboat, which is my last earthly possession. So I scuttled it to avoid, with God's help, I scuttled it and made it, worthless. They didn't like that. as a Christian, most of my life, I tried to train myself to respect even when they don't respect me, and care even when they don't care. Not about me, not about my priorities, not about anything about what I care about. But there comes a point, even as a Christian, when you have to say, okay, you know what? F it. If they don't care, I don't care. And this is the point where they push me with their disrespecting, their dissing. Okay, you know what? Go F each other. Go F each other and kill each other for all I care. You know, even as a Christian, you get to push to the point where they diss you so much, to the point where you have to say, you know what, go F yourself, go F each other, kill each other for all I care. Because you know what, you have no conception of the notion. Absolutely no conception of the notion of respect. I've already submitted a complaint to the BBB about Upwork because they're playing games with my W-9. I'm a U.S. citizen, so the appropriate thing for me to file with Upwork is a W-9. But try to guess what's going on with them. Oh, well, all the links are broken. Oh, gee, imagine that. You know, they could fix the problem in a few seconds with just one of their technicians. Just one of their technicians would just take a few minutes to fix the links. But it's almost as if they're deliberately not doing it. Why? Oh, they can hold your pay in escrow. They can hold your pay in escrow as a contractor for Upwork. Just think about that, the details. Think about what that means. They get to hold on to your money. What a dishonest organization. So that's why I didn't hesitate to go to the BBB about Upwork. I didn't hesitate. I held off for a little bit because I thought, well, I'll give them a chance to fix the system. And I started to really think about it and how they're dissing me. So yeah, if you're listening to this, don't just pray for me and peace in my life. You know, not the peace of the dead, but authentic peace, living peace, true, authentic peace, the peace of the living, not the peace of the dead. So pray for peace in my life, authentic peace, living peace, and pray for everybody else too while you're at it.